Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. It's Ebony and Botany. And if you are new here, I do videos on hospitality and tourism in East and South Africa, as well as videos on entrepreneurship and just my everyday lifestyle as a mom and a wife. So, welcome back. Today we are going to talk about investing in you. I wanted to just go over some tips, advice, and just some, I guess, words of wisdom of being an entrepreneur, especially in a foreign country. I've had a lot of people reach out to me and they've asked about questions and asked me if I can specifically go into more detail about foreign investment and what my journey was like, what that looked like for me, how did I even start, where do you begin? Because it can just seem like, you know, how in the world do you start a business in another country? So I wanted to just give you guys some insight about my journey and how I got to where I am currently. And I do also want to give a disclaimer to let you know that this is just my personal experience and what I went through as an individual and as one part of a partnership as husband and wife and how we got to where we are. But so it doesn't mean everybody's path will be like this, but it does mean that I have some unique perspective on what it is involved in just being a foreign investor, because it can be quite a daunting task. It can be a lot to wrap your head around. And it's just, I think, always nice to hear from others that are already in doing things that you want to do yourself. So let's get into it. Let me go into the beginning phases. And I'm going to let you know that this is probably going to be one of, I don't know how many, but let's just say one of a few videos, because it's so many parts to being a foreign investor. I don't think I can fit it all into one video. So I will probably do more than one video about this topic. And in the interim, if you want to leave comments or questions that you want me to address or answer that maybe I didn't cover in this video, by all means, let me know in the comment section, and then I'll try to address them in the next video. Okay? So let's start at the beginning. If you didn't see some of my other videos about my background and what my professional expertise is outside of being a mom and a wife, I have a bachelor's of science degree in entrepreneurship and business management. So my journey started there in college. When my first 2 years of college, I was actually a pre-med student, believe it or not. I've always had an affinity for science and I always loved that topic, but I quickly realized that I was more of a business person and I was a better fit for, at that time, what I thought was corporate America than being a doctor. So I switched gears and I changed my degree to business management and entrepreneurship. And it was the perfect fit. So I really enjoyed the classes, and I realized then that I wanted to go into corporate America at the time, is what I was thinking. After I graduated college, my father, who is, rest his soul, he was an attorney. He passed recently, but he was an attorney. He wanted to start his own law practice. And because I had a degree in entrepreneurship and a background, and I had done internships with the Small Business Development Center, the Small Business Administration, and all those things, I helped my father start his law practice and worked for him on and off for 10 years. That's also when I discovered that ultimately I probably wanted to be my own boss. And the path to that meant I was pretty focused on the path to getting there, which included making sure I got jobs in management. So I was a bank manager by the age of 27. And from there, I got the experience needed that allowed me to manage employees, that allowed me to understand how, you know, companies worked, how corporations worked, and I was able to get my knowledge from college and apply it in the corporate world. Fast forward many years after that, I also ended up having a clothing business with a partner of mine, and we had over 100 people underneath us through a direct sales company. And that was another entrepreneurial endeavor for me. And then I closed that down when my father became ill so that I could take care of him once he fell ill. And you know, I don't regret it. It was a hard decision and a sacrifice, but it was something that I'm really glad that I did. And I'll go more into the personal side about that much later, but this video is about entrepreneurship and investing in you. So one thing I would say about investing in yourself is I try to be very honest about that journey and what it takes, because one thing I found frustrating when you try to talk to other people who have already done what you're trying to do, or other entrepreneurs that are at a point that you're trying to get to, I often found it was very frustrating to get authentic, real information from them, or to get them to share their resources, or to share tips, advice, or to let you know, okay, how did you start? I know how you got there, but like, you know, how do you even get step one going? So one thing I would say is that I found frustrating was finding mentors or others that were willing to just literally open up their plan book and show me how to create my own. So I had to use my expertise that I studied in school as an entrepreneur, and my corporate expertise, and I just kind of figured out a niche from there, along with my husband as well. I do have an affinity for entrepreneurship. I just kind of have a knack for business. It's in my blood. My grandfather was an entrepreneur at a time that it was almost impossible for black men in the South to be entrepreneurs. He was in North Carolina, and he owned grocery stores, apartment buildings, he had land. So it's in my blood. Like I said, my father was an entrepreneur. He had his own law practice. So I do have I feel like a natural affinity for business as it is. But getting started was quite frustrating. And let me go back into that part. So I had the vision of being an entrepreneur. I knew I wanted to start my own business, but for several years I didn't know exactly what, and I didn't know exactly when or how that would happen. In my personal life, every time I would start something, there would be something that was unforeseen and outside of my control that would stop me from getting to the point that I wanted to get to. For example, I had a clothing business that was doing very well. We were actually very successful. I had a business partner, and you know, I had to just abruptly shut that down in order to take care of my father. There were other examples like that where I made the decision to stop what I was doing in order to take care of things that were happening in my personal life. Sometimes that meant, you know, I made a decision when I had my first child to stay at home with my child, and then we had a child every other year after that. So for a long time, I made the decision to be a stay-at-home mom and focus on motherhood and supporting my husband in his career and helping him navigate that, instead of doing my own thing and using my skills. And again, I don't regret any decisions, but I say that to say that the path doesn't always go the way you think it will, and timing is very much key. So every time I kind of forced it and I wanted to get things going at a time that I thought it was right, something would happen that I would make the personal decision and talk it over with my husband that would kind of stop me from doing that. And it did kind of feel like, you know, no matter what I do, I can't get this train off the station. Like, it just got frustrating. Well, then once my father passed, it came a point that we realized, okay, it's now the time is right. All the stars have aligned. It's go time. We're ready. And that's exactly what happened. You know, we then took everything that we knew and decided to invest in our entrepreneurial endeavors. And in that time that we were deciding that the time was now, we were also traveling internationally and meeting other people who became family and then became business partners. So remember, I was telling you about the timing. This is what I mean by timing meeting opportunity and the stars aligning. I mean, that's exactly what happened. I mean, it was just like everything just kind of came together. And one of the things I always say is that you know things is the right time for something to work when it's effortless, when you're not trying to push a square peg into a round hole. And that's what happened with me. So as we were traveling, we met people, we developed very strong friendships, we developed a strong relationship, we developed a high level of trust. We started talking to them about things that we wanted to do. I had really in-depth discussions with my ideas as an entrepreneur and my ideas for investing in Africa. One of my passions is not only just investing as a foreign investor, but investing in the continent of Africa, because we have a unique, I would say, I guess, advantage that my husband is from the continent and he's Tanzanian. So that helps a lot because we do have a base there. We have family there. We have resources there. You know, we have a trust level with people in that country, in the community, that others may take a lot longer to develop. Now, when it comes to the Kingdom of Eswatini, you know, we didn't have family there or a base there. That was developed through our travels, and we just really had a unique opportunity to become super close to our business partners who are, as I mentioned, who are now family. And that there was where business blossomed. They were already business owners themselves. They were well versed in how the business world worked there. They have a lot of connections. And so our Western talents and knowledge and capabilities meshed with their South African talents and business acumen and talent and abilities, and we put that together, and there grew our business, which is First Class Hospitality. And then in Tanzania, it was pretty much, you know, the same thing with our base there and contacting people we know, and there grew First Class Africa. So I know that's probably like the first time I've really mentioned my companies because, as I said, we were working on just revamping some things for me to do a big relaunch. Because up until now, I wasn't really marketing. I joined YouTube to start marketing my businesses. So once I joined, I wanted to make sure that we had everything back up and running with the new added stuff before I start marketing that. But those are the two businesses, and I'm very excited about it. I'm very proud. I will be doing separate videos about those two businesses for you to get a more in-depth look about exactly what each one of them do. So I'm very proud. It is literally like a labor of love. It's like having another child because you have to put a lot of effort into it. But back to investing in you. When it comes to investing yourself, my tips would be you have to give yourself time. You have to look for the right opportunities, and you have to understand that you are going to be your biggest advocate, and you should be your only competitor. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. Don't look at where others are and wonder why me. I mean, of course, that's a natural human emotion, but it does nothing but waste time and energy. You have to make sure that you are focusing, have a laser focus on what it is you're trying to accomplish and what it is you're trying to develop and what your end goal is. So when it comes to investing in yourself, make sure that you take on a different mentality altogether and understand that it's going to be you, and the effort that you put into it is going to be what you see later. So, you know, the fruits of your labor, you will be rewarded eventually, but it's not always going to happen the way that you think it will. I always tell people being an entrepreneur is very much a marathon, not a sprint. There's a lot of baby steps before you make one big leap. And that can be frustrating, you know, it can be annoying, it can feel defeating at times. I've gone through all those emotions, but once you get to the point where you're ready to hit that button and launch your business, it is exhilarating. I mean, you're just so happy. It's like having a new child. So those are my tips about investing in you for now. I will do another video going into more depth about what I would call, I guess, phase 2 of my journey. This was phase 1 of how it just all kind of came about and developed. And then I'll go into phase 2 about once we made those connections and decided what we were going to do, how we even got started, and what was step 1 of launching or registering those businesses and getting them off the ground. So leave your comments, and then I'll get those answers prepared for the next video on phase 2 of launching a international business. Until then, thanks for watching, guys. Again, make sure you subscribe, like, comment, share. I'm trying to get to, I know it's a big goal. It's a big goal, but you know, go big or go home. I'm trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. So help me get there. Talk to you guys soon. Bye guys.